Hey, this is Fred, your found footage fiend, with our latest review for foundfootagecritic.com, home of the world's largest database of found footage films and reviews. Also, do not forget to check out povhorror.com, the world's only VOD streaming service 100% dedicated to found footage films. They're available on Amazon TV, Fire TV, Apple TV, Roku, Android mobile, and iOS. So check out povhorror.com for more information. Also, it's pretty darn cheap, so if you're a fan of found footage, I don't know why you don't have this. Alrighty, everybody, I hope you're excited for this one because I am. We are going to be talking about Horror in the High Desert, a brand spanking new found footage film that just came out like a month or two ago. It's true crime, mockumentary, found footage, and it was written and directed by Dutch Marriage and will soon be streaming on povhorror.com. So make sure to sign up. And really quick, the movie stars Eric Menzies as Gary. We have his sister in the movie, played by Tanya Williams-Ogden, Beverly. We have a journalist in the movie, Gal, who is played by Susie Block. We have Gary's roommate, Simon, in the movie, played by Errol Porter. And we also have like some type of PI, private investigator in the movie, Bill, played by David Morales. And really quick, if you're not familiar with this one, it's all about a true crime mockumentary style movie. You have Gary Hinge, who in 2017 unfortunately went missing in the outbacks of northern Nevada. And after months of doing a search and rescue party, the case eventually went cold. But 3 years later, we have a documentary crew who is trying to follow up on the last week of Gary Hinge's life. And we have new evidence that kind of comes to light. And we're going to be experiencing that in this documentary. I'm calling it right now. I personally believe this will be a hit, for sure, in the found footage genre. I watched this the first time, I think it must have been like 2 in the morning, which was a fucking mistake. Because I love it. I love mockumentary films. I get so invested in them when they're done right. And I feel like this is such an effective, low-budget horror film that just nails it. Holy shit. Let's talk about it. What a great freaking story with a slow burn, but a well-deserved payoff, in my opinion. Holy shit. I loved this movie because it took its time to let us get involved and invested into this character, Gary. You know, throughout like the 2/3 of the beginning of the movie, you might, I don't know, I feel like this might not be for everybody, but if you're just a fan of like mockumentaries and true crime, stuff like that, I do not see how you could not like this because it takes its time building up this character, Gary, who I was fully invested. I really enjoyed this person. I thought he was cool. I loved that he was going out in the freaking wilderness of Nevada, which, huge shout out to Nevada. Northern Nevada is just beautiful. I live in southern Nevada where it's a fucking desert, but man, I've driven through there once and it's gorgeous. And it's some of my favorite parts of this movie was a lot of the scenic shots and things like that. But no, it really does take its time letting you get involved and invested in this character. Because like I said, the first like 2/3 of the movie are basically just a lot of people just talking about who he was, what he liked, how he was, and like how he kind of like coped with the world around him. But it was, I don't know, it was very intriguing for me. I personally liked that a lot. And it definitely pays off in the third act, in my opinion. Because when you find out what kind of happens to Gary at this point, I was like, holy shit. I was in it and I felt so bad for this guy because he seems like such a genuine soul. And it's definitely, okay. Let's calm down, Fred. But yeah, you really do feel for him because eventually you find out it's not necessarily that somebody just went missing. That, you know, not like 127 hours, some shit where, you know, he could have just easily fell and broke his ankle. No, evidence does come to light and it does take a very creepy turn. There's a point in this movie where the tone in the movie kind of just shifts. And it goes from like, you know, just true crime, interesting, you know, what happened to this missing person's case. And then they kind of bring up something with this truck. And I don't want to get too much away, but when they kind of start talking about the truck and stuff they found around the truck, that's where the tone kind of shifts. And even there's like a subtle like music key where it just like, okay, did this dude just go missing? Or is there something like more sinister at play? And it, like I said, it freaking pays off. I'm not going to even talk about the third act because, damn, I said I watched this at like 2 in the morning. By the time it finished, it was like 3 in the morning. And low-key, I haven't felt that much anxiety watching a found footage movie in a fucking long time. Holy hell. Maybe I'm just a baby. I don't know. Have you guys seen this movie? And just let me know what you think about that third act because it was fucking anxiety inducing for me. I actually got a chance to talk a little bit to the director, Dutch Marriage, and I asked him, you know, if there were any like certain influences and stuff like that. And, you know, some of the things he mentioned was The Hills Have Eyes, and Lake Mungo. So you kind of like have these two like genres kind of like blending in, and I can definitely see that, especially with that third act. But yeah, I just want to give a huge shout out to you, Dutch Marriage. Holy cow, man. Oh, you definitely knocked it out of the park in my opinion with this one. I thought this was fucking excellent. Very effective, low budget found footage movie. Just shows you what you can do with a good enough script. Also, keep a lookout for this director because there's going to be a sequel, like 100% sure there's going to be a sequel, and there might be like some sort of spin-off or like some type of like shared universe in the high horror desert. But oh man, I'm very excited for this guy. I definitely gonna keep my eye on you, man. Also, I was really trying to find what I did not like about this movie, and I hate when I can't come up with something because I don't want you guys to think, okay, I'm just being biased or, you know, I'm not being fair in my reviews. I'm trying so hard, but for me, there was personally nothing I did not like about this movie. The acting for me was great. All around the characters were good. You had the sister, Beverly. You had the what's his name? Simon, who was his roommate, I thought was good. You had the PI, you have Susie, the journalist. They're excellent acting. Nothing bad at all about it. Even Gary himself, it was very enjoyable character every time we did get to see him on the screen because the movie is mostly like a documentary style, but throughout it, we get to see some of Gary's footage. You know, like it must have been recovered from his computer or something like that, of him just going on his little hikes. There's like a part where he runs into like all these sheep, and this kind of gives you like an idea of how his life is. He's like, all these sheep start running from him, and he's like, oh look, I scared all the sheep. I can't even get a sheep to like me, like, you know, something like that, where like, you know, sheep won't even be my friends. And that just kind of shows you an example, like his life, and probably just a lonely person, keeps to himself. But overall, very enjoyable character. As well as the other characters. Like I said, I had no issues with anybody in this. The acting was fine. The story was great. The scenery was awesome. That's the beauty. I know I just talked about this in my Skyman review because that's part mockumentary as well. But that's the beauty of mockumentary found footage movies, because you can get away with so much. There is music in the movie, of course, but when I was watching this, I felt like I was watching Unsolved Mysteries. You guys ever heard that show? I think it was like on Lifetime. I don't remember. It was like some old dude in like a trench coat, and he would talk about 53-year-old Merriweather never came. You know, it kind of felt like I was watching Unsolved Mysteries or one of those true crime shows. So I was 100% invested in this movie. I loved it. I thought the third act was just excellent, and I am excited to see what this director has in store for us, because there's going to be a sequel, and there's probably going to be other, like, it might be like an anthology. I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that, but definitely a sequel is in the works. All right, let's get into these ratings. First, we have reason for filming. I'm going to give this a flat out 10. That's right. It's a mockumentary style movie. I mean, the camera is obviously rolling during the mockumentary side because you're always doing interviews, but then you have Gary's footage, he's just filming for his vlog, because he does have a vlog, so he does capture footage all the time. So there's never not a reason to be filming. Also, the third act goes into like this night vision infrared mode, but I love that it explains, like, Gary picked up his camera so he can see better, and that way the light isn't visible to anybody out there trying to harm him or anything like that. So I love that there was like little explanations like that. There's a reason why he picks up the camera in the end, and it's anyways, 10 for me. Next we have cinematography. I'm gonna give this a 9.5. When you have mockumentary style movies, they can be flexible. They can get away with certain angles. They can get away with adding music and stuff, having scenic shots and stuff like that. So it all blended really well with the narrative of the story. Found footage purity. I'm gonna give this one an 8.5. Now there is music in the movie, like I said, but it fits so well. It adds great emotion. It really helps captivate that like true crime essence of a show or movie you're watching. So I'm not gonna knock it on that. I'll ding it a little bit, but nothing too fucking crazy. Also, I don't think there's like any static effect or any like weird stuff like that. So just, you know, when Gary's filming or we see Gary's point of view, that's all raw and it feels great. Next, we have acting. I'm going to give this one a flat out 10. Like I said, I had no issues at all with the acting in this movie. Let me know if you thought differently. Maybe for you, some of the characters came off a little too forced, but for me, no. It felt like one of those, like, honestly, I'll say, it felt like I was watching one of those cheesy freaking shows. Everybody had a part and they played it well. They were very informative in their part. I don't know. There was never once where I questioned it. There was never once where I questioned the integrity of the movie because of the acting, for sure. Next, we have Immersion and Realism. I'm going to give this one a 9.5. 9.5. Like I said, from the very beginning of the movie to the very end, I was fully invested, and a lot has to do with the story, the acting, the emotion you get from a lot of these scenes with the music and everything like that. Absolutely enjoyed this movie. 9.5. And last but not least, we have the plot of the movie. I'm going to give this a 9.5. What starts off as your normal missing persons case definitely turns out to be something a lot more sinister and fucking creepy and terrifying. This movie will definitely make you reconsider hiking and the fucking outbacks of Nevada, especially at night, or just camping in general. Woo, fuck that. Averaging everything up to a 9.5. Probably one of my highest rated movies on here, and with good reason, because I definitely have confidence in this movie and definitely feel it's gonna be a hit. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, huge freaking shout out to Vito Marchese, who wrote our opening and closing theme song, Leave This Place With Me, performed by Kayla's Clone. And don't forget to check out Kayla's Clone's website at kaylasclone.com. But that's it. I'm Fred, your found footage fiend. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you all have a most excellent day. Happy Spookies.